everyone, and welcome to Speedpaint Storytime. Today we're talking about the past, but also the future. Honestly, I wasn't entirely sure if Speedpaint Storytime was the right title for this, but I wasn't sure what else to describe it as. Lately, honestly, I've been feeling a little lost. When I was a kid, outside of the brief stint where I desperately wanted to be a spy, I always wanted to be an artist when I grew up. Even though I was made fun of, told I was stupid or a dreamer or unrealistic, I really wanted to create as my job. I never really knew what that entailed, and due to what I now know was undiagnosed ADHD, I jumped around creative career ideas like my life depended on it. I wanted to be a manga artist, a character designer, a game developer. I wanted to be on Broadway or sew costumes or get into voice acting. Elementary school me even wrote a letter to college graduate me saying that I was going to live and work in Japan, which, I did partially, but not for art, and I definitely didn't work there. It was all for school. When I was in middle school and high school, I spent a ton of time in Gaia Online forums and DeviantArt, both making art and browsing it, and actually had a decent following until I completely forgot about both partway through college. Thank you, ADHD. I've been lamenting a bit lately about how I let such a good thing go, and trying not to beat myself up about that has been hard. My therapist says to take those feelings of regret and turn them into positive action now, which, of course, I've been overthinking for months at this point. How does one start over at 33? I always tell people you can do whatever you want at whatever age you want, but it really is difficult to put into action, isn't it? For a while, I started hardcore planning to figure out the best way to get interaction and rebuild that base. The numbers became the goal again, which is a consistent problem for me, and something that after my Twitch hiatus ended, I swore I'd never pay attention to again, and yet here we were. When I recognized I'd fallen into that pattern again, I got really discouraged. Genuinely, I didn't know how I was supposed to grow my channel without thinking about the numbers, and I didn't have the self-control not to obsess over them. Additionally, the ideas that I was having weren't ones that I resonated with, and I felt like I was just churning things out for the sake of content, which is exactly why I went on hiatus last year to begin with. My art was no longer my art. It was a means to an end. This part of me that I'd always had, this desire to create, was losing its strength. I had it in my head that if I just worked hard enough, if I just figured out the right strategy, I could do my part to help everyone through the current political climate. I could teach people and help people understand and care a little more. I started tying my ability to create to my desire to make a difference, which isn't necessarily bad, but I wasn't allowing myself to make just for making's sake. As I write this script while sitting in the back of my parents' car, I think I've realized that I was subconsciously telling myself that I wasn't allowed to create unless it benefited the greater community at large. I couldn't create if it was just for me. I think both in life and in art, I need to be okay with doing things for me. I get so concerned with what others will think and want, and I put myself as the lowest priority. Although I've had this personality trait for as long as I can remember, I'm not really sure when it crept into my art. The truth is, I think art should arguably be enjoyed by the creator more than the audience. It's a form of expression, a release, a way to take all of the things you see and feel and experience and process it in whatever medium you see fit. In this day and age where people are being replaced by AI and being silenced or persecuted for who they are, maybe the most human thing to do is to create for yourself. I want to go back to when I was a kid, where I spent my time drawing and reading and writing unapologetically, when my time was my own. I hope that if any of this resonated for you, that you can find that for yourself too. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.